All right, let's dive into a really fascinating corporate case study. It's all about a company's value-added services team and how they took on a super common business problem with a solution that was just incredibly clever and efficient. I mean, come on, who hasn't? We've all been there. You're on the phone, you're trying to get something sorted, and you just feel like you're speaking a different language. It's this universal feeling of frustration, and it usually points to a much deeper issue.
And that's exactly what this company, which is in the super fast-paced telecom industry, found out. They realized these, agent-level errors weren't just random slip-ups. No, they were a huge opportunity to make things better across the entire organization. So, to really get what they did, you have to understand their setup. Picture this. They had one team totally focused on the technical stuff, the product knowledge, and then a completely separate team, over in another silo, focused on the human element, communication, soft skills. This division is a really key piece of the puzzle here. So instead of just vaguely saying, oh, our training needs to be better, they actually put on their detective hats. They drilled down deep and found that these errors weren't just one single problem, but they were coming from three very specific root causes.
Okay, so what did their detective work uncover? Three main culprits. First, comprehension. Basically, agents just weren't fully grasping the customer's problem. Second was attention, simple lapses in focus. And the third one was systemic, which means the company's own processes were sometimes, setting the agents up to fail.
And this, right here, this is the heart of the challenge, isn't it? I mean, it's easy to test if someone knows a product feature. But how on earth do you objectively measure and then train something as fuzzy as comprehension for hundreds of different people in a way that's consistent?
This is where things get really, really smart. Instead of trying to reinvent the wheel, trying to create some new, subjective internal rating system that nobody really understands, they decided to look outside the company for a standard that was already globally recognized.
And boom, here it is, their breakthrough moment. They asked, what if we just stopped trying to make up our own subjective rules? What if, instead, we aligned our entire training program with something the whole world already trusts, like the TOEFL, standardized criteria of English tests like IELTS and TOEFL?
Now, just so we're all on the same page, these are not your average high school quizzes. IELTS and TOEFL are the gold standard. They're these super trusted, objective benchmarks for English skills that top universities and big corporations use all over the world. They measure things like listening and comprehension in a really structured, reliable way.
But this idea was so much bigger than just having people take a new test. It was the spark for a complete overhaul of their system, which they mapped out in a really practical, three-step strategy.
Their plan was just beautiful in its simplicity. Step 1, map. They'd literally hold up their current training against the IELTS and TOEFL standards to see where the gaps were. Step 2, merge. They'd break down those silos we talked about and mash the product and soft skills teams into one unified, integrated team. And finally, step 3, centralize. All this new standardized material would live under one roof, a university program, making sure everyone was learning from the exact same playbook. And here's the kicker. This is the most elegant part of the whole plan. By just merging their teams and using the trainers they already had, the price tag for this entire massive initiative was a big fat zero. Nothing. It was all about working smarter, not spending a dime more. Just think about how powerful that shift is. You go from a manager saying something vague like, hey, you need to work on your comprehension, to saying, okay, the clear goal is to get you from a Band 6 to a Band 7 proficiency. It creates a crystal clear, totally unambiguous target that everybody understands. And this is basically what that roadmap looks like. You don't need to squint and read all the tiny text on this example. The important thing is the concept. Frameworks like this create clear levels or bands of skill. Each level has a super clear description of what you need to do to get there. It's like a ladder. Everyone knows what good looks like, what great looks like, and they can see the exact steps to climb to the next rung.
So what are the big takeaways from all this? Well, there are some really powerful ideas here that go way beyond just call centers. First, sometimes the best solution to an internal problem is hiding outside your company. Second, using objective goals just makes everything clearer for everyone. And third, integrating your teams can unlock amazing efficiency without breaking the bank.
And that's the thought I really want to leave you with. This whole case study is a brilliant example of borrowing a standard from one world, in this case international education, and applying it to a totally different one. So the big question for you is, what established objective benchmark from a completely different field could you borrow to bring new clarity and drive amazing performance in whatever it is you do?